Alright guys, hey, how's it going? Finally I'm doing the Teen Wolf Eye VFX tutorial because I finally have some free time. So let me go ahead and get started. Sorry if my mic sounds really bad. I don't have a really good mic to work with, and hopefully the screen capture works fine too. So if you notice, the footage is a little different. I've went back and had to re-record because I could not find the original clip, and there's a reason I did the new footage anyways, and I'll get into that later. So first we're going to go over here to our clip, and we're going to basically drag and drop that into a new composition. Okay, so now we have our clip here. We're just going to choose a spot that we like the best. Okay, so we have everything we want right here in our clip, and I'm going to probably work in this little highlighted portion. So we're going to start off with a motion track, and what we're going to do is we're going to track each individual eye. Good reasoning for this is because you know, the eyes obviously you can tell are not level, so it wouldn't even really work to do one track. So we're going to track each individual eye. So let's go ahead and create a new null object for our track, and then click our footage and track motion. And it already has the null object selected, which is good. So we are going to find a good spot to track. Now, on this footage in particular, your footage is going to be different. I found it was easier to track the bottom of my eye, just because I have really dark eyes. My eyes are like a really dark brown, and it doesn't seem to track anywhere in between. So I'm going to just grab this bottom piece just where we want the eye to basically start glowing, and we are going to go ahead and track our footage. I like to go a little bit frame by frame at the beginning just to make sure the track really grabs on to the spot I want it to. And now we can start to see where the eye is a little bit more clear. There's less motion blur from the frame rate. We can go ahead and start the track. And awesome. That looked like a really good track. So we're going to keep that on the null 6 that we have created, or I guess yours will be null 1. And then we're going to apply that. Click OK. Cool. So now we have a track for that. And you can see that is technically my left eye if we're looking at it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this null object left eye null, just so we don't forget. Cool. And now we're going to create another null object. And then we're going to track this footage again. Awesome. So now we have 2 track points. We can go ahead and get rid of those. So we're going to go back to the beginning here, just about where we want our eyes to glow. So for me, it's going to look right when I look directly at the camera. It's already basically got the track point ready. We're going to make these eyes glow, Teen Wolf style. So we are going to create an adjustment layer. Alrighty. So now we have our adjustment layer created. What I like to do before adding anything to the adjustment layers, I mean, you can go ahead and start adding effects and stuff, anything you want, but I like to go ahead and start the mask. So what I do here is, you can hit G on your keyboard, I believe, and just create a little bit of a mask to go around the eye here. So now that we have a mask, we are going to go ahead and basically make this glow. We're going to start on this eye. It's going to be kind of like our test eye in a sense. So we're going to also go ahead and parent this adjustment layer while we have it right where we want it to the left eye null. So we have our adjustment layer on the left eye null, so we can go ahead and rename this to just left eye, or you can just title it left. First thing we're going to do now that we have this tracked is we are going to go ahead and start coloring it up. So we're going to do color correction. First we're going to start with a curves. You're wanting to crank the RGB all the way up pretty high, just about like that. And of course we can go back and adjust this. As for the red, green, blue, alpha, we're not going to touch any of these except for the alpha. And then we're also going to crank that all the way up. The alpha channel, cool. So it just kind of looks like this like fuzzy whiteness here. Nothing too special, but what we're also going to do now is make sure we have that selected. Go to Effect, Color Correction, Hue and Saturation, and then we are going to click Colorize. Now you can punch in these values or you can do any colors. This works for any eye-changing effect. But for me personally, we're going to do blue because I like the blue betas in the show the most. I like the eye color. So I had 215 here. And then in saturation, we had 100. I totally hit 2 O's there. And then in color lightness, I had 49. So we have this color, and it's very blue. And we're going to fix that in a second. First thing we're going to do is go down to this, and we're going to hit F on our layer so we can hit the feather tool. And we're just going to feather this out just a tad bit, just so it's not so hard of a line. And you can even go into your mask, expansion, double tapping M will do that, and expand your mask just a bit to make sure that your whole eye is covered. Might have done a little too much there. Cool. So now that we have that, we're also going to go ahead and create another mask on this layer. For this, we want it to be a perfect circle though, so we're going to go into our ellipse tool, hold shift and click, and just drop that just like that. I'm going to change this from add to subtract, just so this gives us a nice retina, iris, pupil, whatever you want to call it. I don't really know the name of it. Okay, and then we can also feather that out and then change the size of that. And of course this varies from eye to eye, and you know, the left eye might be a little bit smaller because it's farther away, or bigger. It just really depends. And we just want to make that line less harsh. And you can see mine's a little bit off center, so I'm gonna go through and move this just a tad up. And this is a lot harder for me because I have really dark eyes, so you can't really see on the camera. It'd be a lot easier if if someone had like blue or green eyes where you can easily see where that would go. So for me, I just kind of have to guess, which is a little bit of a pain, but I guess you kind of get used to that part. Alright, I'm just going to go here and adjust my eye out a little bit. Alright, so you see here we have the blue going, we have the little iris in the middle, and it is tracked to our footage. So it'll move with my face, which is cool. And then we can adjust the closing of the eye and all that such in a second. So we are going to go ahead and basically duplicate what we did here onto this eye. So now we're going to create these eye lines. If you see in Teen Wolf, there's very distinct eye lines we got going here. So we're not going to do it to this extent, but we're going to make it look reasonable. So basically, we're going to create another adjustment layer. And once again, before I do any effects, I'm just going to go ahead and draw. So hit G to get your pen tool. And starting at the middle of the eye, we're going to just click one, zoom in for you guys, click out towards the outer edge of the eye, and then just click inwards again, and then click out, and out, and in, whoops, or try not to delete your points, and I keep doing that. Okay, out and in, and you're basically just zigzagging. So we are also going to go into Effect, Color Correction, Curves, and in RGB we're just going to drop this down a little bit. Hit F for Feather Tool, and you don't want to feather out too much. You want the lines to be very visible, so maybe hit like a 1 or a 2. You can go through, and this is why I do the points, because you can easily just click a point and move it around until you get something that you like. Alright, so I'm actually going to drop this all the way down, and then I'm also going to do an effect, color correction, tint, and that'll just make it, you know, it basically takes out all the color, all saturation, basically makes it black and white, and I'm going to just play around with that. Of course, this is all to your preference. All the eyes are different. Doing a little research on, oh, what kind of eye do I want to do? Well, they all look different. So let's go through and change that around. Cool. So this one we actually can duplicate over there if you really want to. I kind of like the clicking, so I'm going to just go over here, click our layer, and another pen tool, and I'm just going to click in and out again. I'm just going to click this mask one, or this adjustment layer, I'm sorry, duplicate it, making the eye lines extra dark, which we don't want. And basically, I'm just going to click that mask and rotate it to where the points are in between the points of the other mask. See what it kind of does? I think the first time I actually took that mask and put it over there, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to rotate. Oh, hello. I'm just going to rotate the already existing mask here, just to go in between the points of the existing mask. It just helps fill in that blue gap a little bit. And see what it does there? It creates a nice multitude of lines, much like Isaac's eye. Not to the same extent, but it gets there, depending on your footage, of course. I can just play around with this. Cool. So we have our eye lines, we have the color of our eyes. Next thing we're going to do is just change the color of our footage. Now, there is one thing I have noticed in a lot of these, or like any kind of eye color changing effect. People will go and make an adjustment layer. They'll drop it right below everything except for their actual footage, of course. And then they'll go into the color correction, curves, and they'll do this. They'll just drop it down really low. And I see what you're trying to do. It makes a nice glow look. It makes the glow look brighter than it actually is. Yet, you know, you don't see films or shows like super dark like this and then red and then pull the blue down like a lot of people like to do, or pull the red down and make it look bluer, because I think that's a nice film look. And I mean, it can work for a lot of things, but for what we're doing, especially in the Teen Wolf show, that's not what they do. You can see it's very nice looking. It's very, you know, tonal. So in our curves, we're basically going to leave everything alone. All we're going to do is go into the red just for a little bit of a style effect. Create points here, a point in the highs, a point in the mids, and a point in the lows. And then we're going to pull the red out of the lows just a tad bit. And if you look in my hair over here in the darks, you'll see in the shadows, you'll see that get a little bit bluer. Well, we're not going to go to an extent where you can obviously tell. It's going to be very, very faint. And there's a reason why I'm going to do this. So you can see it's just a little bit, it's pulled out just a tad bit. And you'll be able to see the difference if I turn it off there. It makes all the shadows bluer. Next, we're going to go into effect, color correction, tint. Actually, well, that's kind of cool, you know, if you're going for a, you know, whole artistic feel. And then we're just going to pull some color out of this footage. Probably about, let's try, keep it at 20. There we go. Okay, so after our tint, we're going to also add a brightness and contrast. And we are going to make this -18, just to darken, really making that eye there pop. And of course we lose some of the detail on the side of my face and such, but it really makes that glow. And that's exactly what they do in the show. I don't think you'll be able to tell in this photo, no, you won't, but it really, Scott McCall especially, most of the time his eyes are shadowed, just from the way they set up the scene and the lighting. And then post, of course, they're going to darken it a little bit more, and then that's when the glow really just pops. And they do the same with Derek. Next, we're also going to add an effect. Oh, there we go. Blur and sharpen. And then we're going to add a sharpen. And then I set this to, I'll set this to about 25. And then we're also going to add an effect, color correction, vibrance. And I set the vibrance, it's pretty heavy, so let's do 4. And then a saturation to 8. Pop a little bit of color into that. So this is what I like to do for my eye things. All the colors are still natural. My shadows have a little bit of blue in them just to add a little style. The shadows are darker on my face. Whoa. Shadows are darker on my face, and the color is still all there, and the glow is there too. My eye's a little bit wonky there, but I guess you can fix that up. So if you see the difference now, it's really not that much of a difference. Everything's just kind of toned up. It's a little bit more stylized, but it can still pass. It's very natural looking, you know. And if you didn't like the curves in there, then you can take that out. It just really, you know, it just adds a little bit more red. I like it to have a little bit more of a bluer tint. What was that? You know what? We didn't even have to set anything to add over here. I mean, you know, most people think that immediately you should just go set something to add if you want it to glow, but you can do a lot without making things glow like that and making it super transparent. Plus, the Teen Wolf eyes aren't very transparent in the first place. So we got that. Next, we are going to just make sure that this, I guess you could say, animates in correctly. So we can, look at me, I'm skipping steps. We're going to go and parent our right eye to our right eye null object. And here is our start point. So I will go ahead and highlight all of these, all the eye lines, and both eyes. Click T for opacity, and stopwatch for keyframe. I'm going to go ahead and push this forward just a tad bit too. And then pull all of these down to 0. So they'll all fade out. And when I look at the camera, the eyes will light up. You can see they're a little bit off here, but we can go through and fix those. Or you can simply, you know, cheat that for the sake of this tutorial and pull this over. I'm pretty sure I'm running a long time on this tutorial now. It really doesn't take that long once you get used to it. I guess just all the running back and critiquing everything I'm doing because I'm a perfectionist like this is bothering me. Cool. So as long as your eyes fade in at the right point and they're parented, everything will move all in sync and will look very cool and pretty and realistic. If you wanted to go a step further, gosh, this trackpad so sensitive. If you wanted to go a step further, you can go ahead and motion blur all of these. So cool, we have everything tracked, everything animates in. The only thing left to do really is change the eye color around if that's something you want to do. If you don't like beta blue, all you have to do is go into your eye setting on either eye, the right or the left, and move around the colorize hue. Blue seems to work well with 215. I find for beta blue, if you wanted to go red, I like the 360. We'll give you a nice fiery alpha red there. And if you wanted yellow, I believe it's 48 or 50 around that color. We'll give you pretty close to Isaac's color there. And of course, you can go through and change this up any way possible. And of course, this tutorial is really fast, and if you find anything else that you think works better, feel free to let me know. Put it in the comments, and it would help out. It's awesome. Cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed my tutorial. I just did a little bit of a cleanup on the eyes, the eye color of the Alpha Red, which is still the 360, I believe, and the eye lines, and faded everything in, and there you go. Everything's tracked, and we have the color correction here, so that's how you do it. If you guys liked the tutorial, make sure to comment and subscribe, and stay tuned for more tutorials and VFX, guys.